are such a jerk. You are always yelling at the kids. You are so strict.
They
Why don't
need
you give the boys
structure,
a break?
you Magic Mountain mom.
Magic Mountain.
I know, that's the problem. It's just fun, fun, fun all the time. Mended light. Welcome to Marriage Problems, where Alicia and I spill the tea on our deepest personal struggles.
Balancing parenting roles and maintaining a strong marriage. What's that like? How do you do that?
Well, I see a lot of it in counseling. I think our dynamic is something that a lot of people can relate to. We're going to address some things that have happened in our relationship, and then we'll also address some things that we see in other relationships, both in the therapy office and also when we're publicly judging people in restaurants.
Yeah.
We never do that, actually.
What? So basically, how do you have a happy marriage? Like, how do you do that? What do you do? Like, tell me the secrets. There must be a secret. You must know the secrets.
Well,
just tell me the truth.
Yes, I know all of them. I'm not feeling the pressure at all. So with you and I, on paper, when we were dating, on paper we're very similar. We have similar values, we have similar beliefs. And when it came to raising children, we value making memories and having fun and doing and having adventures, as well as working hard and teaching our children values and to be good people.
Yeah, so except for we value those things in complete opposite priorities.
Yes, in terms of priorities, okay, so what would be your priority? Like, what would be the order there?
Yeah, I would always value hard work and accomplishment before having fun. I always valued fun. But the work had to be done first, and then we had fun. Fun is always the priority. Work is the necessity.
And you like to say a lot that how you show up in one area of life is how you tend to show up in other areas. And so for you, you're very driven, you're ambitious, but in good ways. You're ambitious about doing good in the world, and you're highly invested in personal growth, right? And in being prepared for life. Yeah. And so that's something that you wanted to instill in our children.
Right.
And I very much value making memories and having as much fun as possible, which you do too, after all that is done.
Reverse orders.
Well, and again, for me, I didn't have a huge value on personal growth. I had value on, sure, yeah, do your schoolwork, and let's get your chores done, and then...
Life was check boxes, and once we check off the check boxes, then we can go on to having fun.
Advancement wasn't a big thing for me. Like, that wasn't something I highly valued. And so...
Or discomfort.
Does anyone value discomfort?
Yes.
Really?
Closers genuinely enjoy discomfort. There's something that they can learn or grow through, and it's uncomfortable. Like, they relish the hard.
Yeah.
They relish the hard. They have to have a mountain to climb. I have to have a mountain to climb.
There's a word for that. Masochists. So even though on the surface we valued the same things, when you actually get to the details of it, it was wildly different. And
we have drastically different needs.
Yeah. Well, and so I think many people aren't even aware of their needs, let alone how to communicate them.
Right.
Because again, I didn't have a high enough self-awareness.
Especially getting married at any point in your 20s.
Yeah. Which we did.
Aww.
Woo! Woo! Because again, I had the level of self-awareness that I had, which was what I thought we were on the same page and I thought we were similar. And it was about knowing yourself, right?
So in an earlier marriage problems video, one of our first ones.
It was the very first one.
We talk about the different personality types. And you can go to our membership site. You can take the personalities course. You can take the love language course. It provides so much depth and understanding and self-discovery. Like, highly recommend it. It's fun. It's easy. The whole family can do it.
Yeah.
Or go check out our other marriage problems video, which isn't as thorough, but still fun and easy to understand.
Good place to start for knowing yourself, yeah.
Yeah, and so we talk about dreamers, healers, closers, and thinkers, and their different values and their needs. We are completely opposite. Dreamer, healer, thinker, closer here.
Thinker, closer, meticulous, and accomplishment. Dreamer,
Driven.
healer.
And I'm task-oriented.
Yeah.
Both those personality types, I am task-oriented.
Dreamer, healer, connection-oriented, fun, and making warm memories.
Relationship oriented.
Yeah. So we had an unspoken agreement in our relationship that you would lay out for me what needed to be done, and then I would do it. And then I could move on to what I really wanted to do.
You were a top employee in the household.
Well, it's not a partnership. It's a boss-employee relationship. Yeah. But that's the thing. Had I not married you, had I been a single parent or married someone who was more likely, I think I would have been more proactive in listing out, okay, here's what needs to be done, et cetera, et cetera. But because you were so much more thorough and saw so much more, I'm like, well, if Alicia says this is what needs to be done, once it's done, that must be it. And I didn't look for more things to accomplish or more things to handle. I just let Alicia handle all of it and just tell me what to do.
So once again, like I show up in my life as the responsible. I'm nothing if not responsible. It was a key tenet I had even in my childhood. My parents loved me. But like as I got bigger and bigger in that role, you got smaller and smaller. And it was a dynamic that like at first we weren't aware of. As the disharmony became even larger, we became more and more aware of it. It was a cause for fights and conflict. And I was like, I need more help. And you're like, I'm just doing what I'm told.
Yeah, I did what you told me. Well, and I think this led to a dynamic that a lot of couples have. We got there maybe a different way, but where there's good cop, bad cop, or where one parent is the heavy and the other parent is the more fun one, right?
And I feel like I have to be responsible because I can't rely on him to be responsible. And so that just keeps growing my plate of responsibility and shrinking his.
Well, and so what ends up happening is, because we never fully had the dynamic where I'm the fun one and you're the serious disciplinarian, because I gave kids consequences and I would hold them responsible for things. But again, it was like the things you would ask me to hold them responsible for. And I would do it. But I'm like, okay, and I would think I'm showing up because I'm doing what she's asking me. And similarly, you enjoyed doing fun things and making memories and having adventures. So it wasn't like completely off balance. But there was enough there where I just laugh now because recognizing this dynamic and trying to make changes, I'm trying to take more of the role of being assertive and taking the lead and providing structure for the kids than I ever have before, and not waiting to be told what to do. And the kids aren't used to it and they don't like it. They're like, Dad, you're supposed to be the one we play with. Like, what is this? And so what ends up happening, and I really do appreciate this about you, is they try and walk on me and you back me up. And because of all the years of you being the heavy, they're like, oh, okay. But then more and more they're listening to me because they're like, if we don't listen to them, they're going to have to deal with Mom, right? And
never once has it ever been said in our household, just wait till your father gets home.
Yeah, no. It's. Do you really want to go through Mom on this? Like, no, it's okay. I'll do it.
Well, this is a dynamic that's been played out for a long time, and we're still working through it, and we're still working on expressing our needs, being more aware of our needs. And in the last year, I have been much more aware of the fact that instead of taking over a responsibility or taking care of something, like, I'm just going to have to leave it. Like, I'm just going to have to leave enough space for you to step up to the opportunity. Because if I don't give you the opportunity to step up, then a word that could be used is enabling, but I'm also removing your opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
And that's hard, right? And it has to be done in a way as much as possible because it is absolutely a trigger for people. It has to be done in such a way of not resenting you, of not attacking you, of just being like, here, there's this thing, and it's just sitting there waiting for you, right?
Yeah.
And not be toxically positive, but just express my emotions without attacking. And this leads me to an awareness where this started years ago. It was about 6 years ago. I remember we were leaving for a family vacation to go to Southern California, to go to a family reunion, to go to the beach, to go to amusement parks. None of these things were my idea of a good time. I love beaches. I just don't want to go to a Southern California beach because they're cold. But nothing about this trip was like necessarily what I wanted to be doing, right? But we had 5 little kids. The youngest was maybe a year old, if not younger. So we have like a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 9-year-old. Like, life's crazy. Life's crazy. We're running our own business. We have a house. Like, we're in the thick of the crazy. And there's certain things that need to be taken care of. Like, if certain things aren't taken care of with the house, like, it's going to be a disaster when we get home. It's all the pieces of the puzzle. There's lots of pieces. I know how they all fit together to create a supportive life for everyone. And of course, I'm the only one that's aware of all the pieces, and I'm the only one putting them in their parts. And you do support and you do help as long as I tell you, right? That was the disharmony that was happening. And so I had spent days doing all the things that needed to be done, packing all the bags, so on and so forth. I get in the car and you guys are blasting, the happy...
We're like, road trip
music. Yeah. Everybody's excited. And I am mad as hell, right? Like I am
We're all like, what's mom's problem?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am exhausted. I am angry.
Yeah.
And my exact thought was, how could you do this to me? You evil people that don't understand
Or
that
appreciate or...
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Like I was victimizing myself in this moment. And I was like, nobody did this to me. I did this to myself. Do I need more support? Yes. Do I need them to show up differently in my life? Yes. Are they aware of that? No. Could they be more aware of it through their own efforts? They could. Ultimately, it is my responsibility to communicate my needs. And that is where, one, I was aware of my needs. Two, I was accountable to myself. And three, I said, I need to communicate this in a healthy and supportive way. And so for me, that was a big shift. And I never went on a family trip again with that
Period.
dynamic. Ever again. So just take the trips away. Don't go on family trips anymore. No, with that dynamic, after I stopped and calmed down, I communicated like, here's all the things that I had to do before we could leave, and here's why I had to do those things, right? And sometimes we put huge lists together that don't actually need to be done. I know those people too. But it was like, no, here's genuinely what needs to happen, or it becomes a domino effect, and things are just a mess and
chaos.
And chaos, and I don't handle mess and chaos well, right? Like you handle mess and chaos better than I do. And so that goes back to the needs conversation of having a partnership that meets everybody's needs. And so I said, here's my expectations. Like if we want to go on a family trip to the beach, here's what I need done. And I need everybody to help me with that. And if you guys want to leave by 3:00 on Friday, that's what has to be done before 3:00 on Friday. And if we don't get to leave till 10 p.m. because that stuff's not done, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Right? And so not putting ourselves in an either or box of I have to sacrifice myself or we don't get to go do the thing. Right? Like we are a team. Let's look at us as a team and let's go through the work of showing up as a team together. And that's a challenge. It takes mindfulness. It takes effort. But the rewards are so valuable.
Well, I think it's a common dynamic.
For everyone.
And, I can speak more to heterosexual marriages, though I'm sure the similar dynamics exist in other types of marriages and relationships. But I think it's a common dynamic for a wife and a mother to take on so much.
Right.
And for everyone else to just think, well, that's just what she does.
That's what moms do.
That's what moms do. But also
they self-sacrifice to the point of betrayal, and that is their job.
I don't think any of us thought that exactly. But there's also a lack of awareness of just how much you're doing, right?
Right.
And, I like you're saying, I've never been the husband or the father who's just sitting on the couch watching sports while you handle everything. Like,
it's your job, woman. Get back in the kitchen.
Yeah, I've never been that guy. But it's like, no, I did this and I did that. And I thought that I contributed and did my part, and there's a lack of awareness, but there's also a lack of looking. And that's the thing is, I think there's a lot of husbands who feel blindsided when suddenly their wife explodes.
Right.
Because it wasn't intentional on the husband's part, and they thought they were helping. Yeah. Right? What I've seen, especially in recent time in our relationship, is the more I actively look for what can I do? And not just what can I do, but what needs to be done. And communicating, okay, this is what I'm planning on doing. I've done this. This is what I'm going to do next. Do you have something that needs to be done before that I can help with? Right? And having those conversations and not feeling like, well, I did my checklist, so now I'm going to...
So now we're done.
Right?
Yeah.
What it's done for us, there's increased trust and there's increased closeness. And I'm not going to lie, like the wounds there are still pretty raw and the dynamic there is still shifting. But it has been beneficial for me to step into that space.
And what this has looked like more recently, we recently bought a house on a lake, which is a dream of mine, right? And we're getting ready to have people come and stay and hang out at the lake house.
Yeah.
And I am the one that manages all the house projects because I have a background in construction and that's not your strength. So that's understandable. And we also run a business together and we also run like everything in our lives. It isn't you do this job and I do that job. In some ways, a much more challenging dynamic. So I had done my stuff with kids. We switched kid shifts and I went to go work in my office. You did your things with the kids. And then you got a game out to play with the kids, which is a great thing to do. Like
family
it's a
bonding
great
time,
thing to play games with your kids. But I heard that from my office and my meetings and stuff, and I was so angry.
That I was playing a board game with the kids.
Yeah. So with the awareness on my part, I communicated. I said, here is the list of work that needs to get done on the house this week. Like just this week. And it's a lot. And there's a reason for the timetable. I said, and I am upset and I'm frustrated. Instead of, like, this isn't even on your radar. You don't even know it has to be done because you're waiting for me to tell you what to do. I said, and I would like to be sitting in the family room playing games with the kids. I would like that opportunity. I said, but I don't feel like I have that opportunity.
Yeah. And I was like, we got the dishes done, got the trash took out, we got schoolwork done, like we're good to play games. And then you're like, there's so much more to do.
Yeah. And so supporting each other in that balance of me, I'm the one that needs to stop working to play. I absolutely do. But I'm the one that needs to stop working to play at this point in my life. Like this dynamic has gone on long enough that I don't stop to play enough. Yeah. Right? And it's feeding into a dynamic, well, I can't stop to play because if I don't do it, no one will. Right? Which is a false paradigm. But if it's a false paradigm I believe, then it's true. And if I don't want it to be true, I need to be responsible for switching that, right? Yeah. That was a really powerful conversation. And you had been showing up completely different and being aware of that component, and saying, okay, before I do XYZ with the kids, and asking me in advance, what are the house projects that need to be done this week? Yeah,
I do that. And then the kids are all on the same page. Right. And it's like, when we get all this done, here's the things we can do for fun. And they're like, okay.
And so instead of what I really appreciate, what you're doing an awesome job more recently, instead of waiting for me to tell you, you're saying, okay, what needs to be done in this area? What does this look like?
And even here's what I see.
Right.
Does that work for you if I take the lead on that or whatever? Yeah. As I do that, it also frees you up to play more. Yeah.
Because the reality is we all need play. We all need connection. We all need structure. We all need organization. And those are all strengths of the different personality types. Any family needs that to function. Any organization needs those different components to function. Yeah. Right? And being aware of who is providing that dynamic and is it working for the couple as a whole? Is it working for the family as a whole? And if it's not, what conversations are we having about it?
So speaking of those conversations, what's helped us to get there is every week we have what's called a couples council, and we sit down together and we review, okay, what's coming up this week? What needs to happen? How does that play into our larger, longer term goals? But it's also an opportunity to express affection and praise and say, here's what's not working for me, or here's what I need from you, or here's what I'm going to be accountable for and change, right? And we've got this into a structured system, which you can learn about in our counsel's course, which is on our membership site. You can check out the link in the description to sign up for that. Doing that regularly helps prevent small things from becoming big things, right? Because we all do what we've seen our parents do or our models from our lives, people that we've seen other couples. This works for them, so it should work for us. And the fact is, we have to create our own model. My parents had a very healthy marriage, but in order for us to have a healthy marriage, we can't just imitate my parents' marriage because we are two different people than they were.
Well, and you're very similar to your mom, and I'm very similar to your dad, but you're the male and I'm the female, so you can't just show up as the nurturer only because you have chosen to be the provider.
Yeah, you have to find what works for you in marriage and in parenting, but when it comes to parenting roles and maintaining a healthy relationship, it's about those continual adjustments, those continual conversations, humility, accountability, and being vulnerable and courageous enough to voice your needs.
Right, and to do it in a way that isn't attacking and it isn't avoiding, which those skills are learned in the Connection Through Conflict course, which is also in the membership site.
And right now, at the time of this recording, you can get your membership, your monthly membership for half off. It's a launch price. It's not going to stay that price forever, but you will keep it at that price indefinitely if you sign up now. If you've enjoyed this, check out our full Marriage Problems playlist. We've got so many things that we have worked through personally that we want to share with you so you can learn from our journey. What has helped you to balance parental roles in your relationship? Let us know in the comments below and share your experiences with our community. Until next time, folks, keep shining.
We need your light.
Yeah, we do.
Woo!
Ow!